Our recording. Okay. Welcome. Thank you for joining for another yoga class. Today, since we are continuing with the heat of the summer coming into the month of August, we will be progressing through our slow flow practice. So typically I'm leading, a vinyasa or a vinyasa line for 60 minutes. But I thought it made a little bit more sense for us to take things a little bit slower and maybe only go 45 to 50 minutes for this time. So if at any point you're feeling overheated or you feel like you need to take a breath, please come into a child's pose. And that's actually where we'll start today. So if you have a pillow or a cushion, something of that sort, go ahead and grab it. We're going to start with a supported child's pose today. So take that pillow or bolster and lay it long ways along your mat. And then come into a wide-legged child's pose. So that means that your toes are touching and your knees are extending outwards to the side of your mat or the space that you're practicing to whatever degree is possible at the beginning of this practice. And then you're gonna scoot that bolster or pillow and move it towards that sacred space into the pelvic and the groin region. And then you're just gonna lower yourself down, walking forward, allowing your head and the forehead, that third eye region, to rest on the bolster or the pillow. And just allow your forearms to lay onto the earth as well. Spreading your fingers nice and wide. And just allowing the breath to come to recognition. Inhaling here. And exhaling, grounding down. Inhaling, feeling the spine lengthening along the back body. And exhale as you ground down in through the groin, the pelvis, in through the hands and forearms. Continuing with that inhale and exhale, just exploring for yourself today, seeing where the breath lands, where it feels nice, or where you want to direct it if you are feeling any points of tension. Continuing like this, allowing any sort of turbulence, turmoil, or just everyday living that's come at you earlier today or this past week to just melt away. Recognizing that this fairly simple pose has an incredible amount of benefit. The forehead contacting the earth, the stretching along the back side of the body, and the opening of both the hip joints as well as your ankle joints. If you're feeling any discomfort in the knees, go ahead and readjust yourself. Maybe coming up onto all fours, just increasing the space behind the knee. And then when it feels right, exhaling as you lower back down into your child's pose. Inhaling for 3, 2, 1. Exhaling for 3, 2, 1. Do that again. Inhale for 3, 2, 1. Exhaling for 3, 2, 1. On your next inhale, let's walk our hands over to the right side. If your flexibility permits it, maybe you stack that left hand on the right, grounding down through that left hip, just allowing yourself to breathe over here. Feeling the space that you're creating all along the left side. Stretching out, spreading through the fingers. Flattening that right palm down onto the earth. Feel that stretch in through the armpit, along the ribs, maybe down into the hip crease or the ankles. One more breath on this side. Inhaling here and exhaling down. On your next inhale, walk your hands back to center. And this time, let's allow our forehead to rest on our pillow, but tent our fingers and start to inch them forward. I always visualize them as those little ants or spiders marching forward. Maybe you lift them up. While you're stretching throughout the back of the shoulders, just take notice if they're creeping up to your ears. Totally fine. You're working to stretch here. Feeling it through the top back body. And then work to ground down through your hips. Your heels and inner arches kind of create that nice little space, that seat for your booty. Allow it to kind of rest in there. One more inhale in the middle here, exhaling out. And then on your next inhale, let's walk our hands over to the left side. And maybe you start out by just slightly overlapping your hands. Inhaling as you lengthen throughout that right side body. And exhale as you ground down in through the right hip. And then once you're here for a couple breaths, maybe you challenge yourself and feel that stretch by stacking the hands, left palm flattened out onto the earth, and walking the right hand up on top at whatever overlap feels good. Continuing to inhale, imagining the spine and the intercostal muscles lengthening. And exhale as you're rooting down. One more breath on this side. And exhale here. On the next inhale, go ahead and walk your hands back to center. And then exhale as you bring your hands in towards your knees. Your neck is still tucked. And then on your inhale, slowly roll up through the spine, stacking all the vertebrae on top of each other. And if it feels okay, go ahead and open your eyes up. Let's take that piece of prop out and just set it off to the side here. Coming into a comfortable seat, so maybe that's Virasana or Sukhasana. I'm going to come to comfy seat here. And then if it's okay for you, maybe you have a soft gaze with your eyes out in front of your practice space. Or if it's available, go ahead and close your eyes here. Tenting your fingers out alongside the body. Working to lengthen through the spine with the inhale. And then exhale, keep that length, but drop the shoulder blades down and away from the ears. Do that once again. Inhale, imagining a string pulling up, stacking your vertebrae. And then exhale as you lower down the shoulders, but keeping the length of that spine. On the next inhale, bring both hands together up overhead, interlacing the fingers, but releasing the pointers. And then inhale as you stretch up. Maybe there's a little wiggle here as you're pointing to the sky. If possible, maybe you work to bring your elbows behind your ears. Nice job. And then exhale, lowering that right hand down to the side. Left arm goes up and over. Feeling that stretch on a different plane of gravity. And I encourage you to really stretch out through the fingers of the right hand, pressing down into the earth, keeping that micro bend in the elbow. And then maybe you inhale, looking up to the fingers above. Exhale, looking down to the earth. Starting to increase the movement of the neck. All along, you're grounding through that left hip, making sure it's not inching its way up off the earth, almost as if there's a hand on the outside, the inside of that inner left thigh, holding it down as you allow yourself to lift up and over. One more breath on this side. And then on the next inhale, bring your hands back up to center, interlacing the fingers, releasing the pointers. Inhale as you point up. And then exhale, dropping the left hand down onto the earth, allowing the right to come up and over. And then feel how this side might feel a little different. Just recognizing what it is to be in your body today. And then keep that micro bend in the left arm, pressing the fingers away, spreading the palm into the earth. And then if it's available and it feels good for your neck, on the inhale, look up to the sky. On the exhale, look down to the left hand. Do that a couple times. Recognizing the opening of the hips. Imagining that hand positioning that right hip down into the earth. One more breath on this side. And then on your next inhale, bringing both hands up to center. Continue with that interlacing and releasing of the pointer fingers. Inhale as you stretch up, allow the shoulders to come up to your ears. And then release as you bring your hands down along your side. Rocking forward over top of your knees, coming to our tabletop position. If you have knee sensitivities, go ahead and grab a blanket. I'm gonna get mine from over here. And create a little cushion for you on your knees. Stacking knees and hips, shoulders and wrists. Press the top, that shoelace part of your feet down into the earth. And then start to lean back just a bit so that you can see the fingertips, rocking your hands back onto your wrists, spreading, and then placing them down onto the earth, coming to that nice stack. Give your dog a little shake here, wagging the tail back and forth. And then let's take some cat-cows. So inhale as you tuck your chin, pressing away from the earth, puffing up the back body. And then exhale, bending throughout the elbows to really open and lengthen across the chest, chin up. Inhale, tucking through the chin, spreading through the back body. And then exhale. Booty up, chin forward, chest open. Continue like that for whatever pace is right for you, and feel free to add in any additional movements that serve your body today. Maybe you make figure fours or just circles in one direction, across the wrist and the knees. And then if you've done it on one side, try to take it to the other side. And then let's flip that right wrist upside down. Palm is facing you, fingertips are facing your knees. And just rock back and forth, front to back on the mat here. Keeping that micro bend in the left elbow. I guess on the right one as well too. And then rock back, holding that pose at whatever position you feel the stretch, maybe along the front of the forearms. Maybe you feel it in the shoulders. And then flip that wrist back around. Give it a couple rolls out before you place it down on the earth. And then do so, placing it, spreading out the fingers, flipping that left wrist upside down. Rocking back and forth, front to back on the mat. Doesn't need to be fast. You'll actually feel a little bit more if you're going slow. Just recognizing that sensation. And then when it feels right for you, go ahead and take it to a point that needs a little bit more love and breath. Finding that point of stillness without overextending. And then flipping it back over, rolling out through that wrist as well. Placing it down onto the earth. And we're gonna go into thread the needle. So inhale your right arm up to the sky, opening through the chest. And then exhale, threading it underneath the left, allowing that right side of your cheek or your forehead to press down into the earth. And depending on the flexibility you have within your left shoulder, you can either walk that hand out in front of your body, up overhead, nice and straight, or feel free to wrap it around the back side. Maybe it tucks into that hip crease on the right side. A lot of activity on the top half of the body, but we don't want to forget the bottom. So I challenge you to press down into the earth, especially with the shoelace part of the foot on the right side. Engaging, stabilizing, breathing here. And then if you have that bind of the left hand, go ahead and bring it back alongside your nose, pressing down into the earth with your next inhale, rising up that right hand to the ceiling, and then lowering it down onto the mat. Let's take it on the other side. So inhale, bringing your left hand up to the sky, and exhale as you thread it underneath, allowing the left cheek and shoulder, as well as maybe the forehead, to rest on the earth. And play around with this side. Maybe taking that right hand forward, straightening up above the head. Or if you gave that bind a try on the other side, go ahead and do that as well. Opening throughout both of the shoulders, but in opposite directions. The bind allows the right side to stretch and open through the front of the shoulder, while the compression and the threading on the left side are actually bringing it in across the front of the body, stretching through the back shoulder. And then on your next inhale, really think about pressing on the exhale throughout the shoelace part of your toes, helping to stabilize and engaging through the core, taking a little bit weight off of the forehead. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and release the bind or bring the hand alongside your nose, pressing up exhaling as you're lifting to the sky and then lowering down. From here, I want you to, once again, really stretch out through the fingers, spreading them nice and wide, and then tucking your toes. And on the next inhale, press away from the earth to send your knees up just a couple inches, hovering above the earth. You're looking down, have a nice straight, long neck, breathing here, and then lowering them down to the earth, releasing the feet, coming into our child's pose. Let's make this one a very active child's pose. So just like before, your fingers are up in that tented position. Maybe even your forehead is up off of the mat. Really stretching, strengthening throughout the neck muscles. And then lower down, forehead on the mat, forearms on the mat as well. And then the next inhale, come back into your tabletop position, tucking the toes, stretching throughout the 10 fingers. And inhale as you press into the earth, lifting your knees into the air, hovering here. Working to breathe through this stretch and struggle, not holding your breath, and then lowering down. Sitting up onto your ankles, coming back into a nice straight spine, inhaling our hands up overhead, and exhale as we open them to the right side, left hand coming to the outer edge of the right knee. Spine is nice and strong, and you're just twisting here, looking out over the right shoulder. Every inhale, you're lifting, lengthening up, and every exhale, you might twist a little bit further. And then if it feels okay for your neck, go ahead and slowly turn your neck back to center, but keep that twist in the body. And then the next exhale, go ahead and take the neck back, looking out over the right shoulder. On the next inhale, bring your hands up overhead, coming back facing to center. And then exhale as you open, taking that twist over to the left side. Once again, making sure to lengthen throughout the spine, opening through that left shoulder and chest. And then exhale, twisting from the spine, not cranking your neck back. And in fact, on the next inhale, go ahead and take your neck back to the front of the mat. Inhaling and exhaling here. And then the next exhale, go ahead and take the neck, looking back over the left shoulder. One more breath on this side. And exhaling. On the next inhale, bringing your hands back up overhead, and then slowly walking forward, coming back into our tabletop. At this time, let's step our right and our left foot back, coming up into our high plank, really engaging throughout the back legs. We've been sitting on them or sitting on our knees, so start to send some blood and allowing that breath to work its way down along the backside of the lower body. Inhaling here and exhaling. On your next inhale, go ahead and tap that right knee down, keeping the left one back, and then rock forward and back. Just warming up those calf, hamstring, and core muscles throughout the left side of the body. And then the next breath, go ahead and hold that foot back, imagining that string is pulling throughout the heel, really nice and strong, stretching here. And then rocking forward, lowering that knee down, taking the right foot back, rocking back and forward here. Continuing to breathe. Maybe it's an inhale as you go forward and an exhale as you go back. And then go ahead and hold back in that position here, stretching throughout the heel, which will stretch all along the back side of the leg. And then inhale, allowing the knee to come down to a tabletop and tucking the toes, rising up into our inverted V, our first downward facing dog of class. Go ahead and ensure that you have a nice bend throughout your knees, really pressing away from the earth with your hands and pedaling out 1 foot at a time. Sending that breath to the back body. Maybe shaking it out here a little bit. And then come to your point of stillness. Inhaling here and exhaling. Once more, inhaling here and exhaling. Last one, inhale and exhale. On the next inhale, go ahead and rock forward into a plank pose, holding in this position, engaging throughout the core and the booty. You don't want to leave your lower back holding all that weight. And then lower down onto your knees. And then stand up tall. Your knees are on the earth, the shoelace part of your foot is pressed in. We're going to do a modified sun salutation so that we're not going up and down so many times since it's so warm. So let's inhale our hands up overhead. Exhale as we fold forward, coming into our tabletop. And then inhale as we rock back into our child's pose. Exhale as we come back into a tabletop. And then inhale as we rock into our child's pose, slowly rolling up 1 vertebrae at a time, dragging your hands along the mat. Head, neck, and shoulders last to rise and rolling down. Hands out, heart center. Inhale as we bring our hands up overhead. Exhale as we come through midline, moving into our tabletop. And then exhale as we come back down into our child's pose. Inhale as we come to our tabletop. Exhale as we come to our child's pose, slowly rolling up 1 vertebrae at a time, hands dragging on the mat, lifting up onto our knees, shoulders rolling back and down, hands face forward. A couple more like that. Inhale, bringing our hands up overhead. Exhale, folding forward, coming into our tabletop position. Exhale, extending back and down for our child's pose. Inhale, coming to our tabletop position. Exhale, extending out for our child's pose. And then on the inhale, slowly dragging the hands closer to the knees, rising up. Inhaling, the shoulders up. Exhaling, them back and down. Last time like that. Inhale, bringing our hands up overhead. Exhale, coming down into our tabletop position. Inhale as we extend for our child's pose. Exhale as we rise to our tabletop. Inhale as we extend to our child's pose. And then exhale as you drag your hands in towards your knees, rolling up to stretch throughout the shoulders. Exhale as we drop them down and back. Nice job. And from here, let's come to our tabletop position. Bring that right foot to the outside of your right hand. And maybe you need to encourage it up there do so, placing it in this position. And then place the left hand in the middle of stacking it underneath your left shoulder. Inhaling as you stretch the right hand up, coming into a twist on this side, really pressing down through the left top part of your foot. That should maybe feel an engagement throughout your booty. At least it does for me. I'm not sure where you feel it. And then let's rainbow our arms forward and back. Making sure you keep that micro bend in that left elbow. And then the next time you bring your hand forward, go ahead and leave it there. Imagine stretching out throughout the shoulder blade and then dropping it back. Stretching out, dropping it back. And then inhale, bringing the hand up overhead. Exhale, dropping it down onto the inside of the right foot. Go ahead and put that right foot back and then allow the left foot to come up alongside the left hand. Bring the right hand to the middle and allow it to stack over top of the elbow and right shoulder. Inhale as you twist the left hand up to the sky. Breathing here. Pressing down into the shoelace part of the right foot. Feeling that stretch come up through the foot, the ankle, knee, hip. Incredibly how it goes across the flat of the lower back into the right booty. And then let's rainbow the arms of the left side. Inhale as you take it forward. Exhale as you take it back. Ensuring all the while that you keep that micro bend in the right elbow. And the next time you come to the front, go ahead and leave the arm there. And then stretch. Imagine stretching out through the hip and exhaling, allowing the shoulder to drop back. Inhale as you stretch the shoulder, coming out from the hip, and then release it back. Inhale, bring that hand up to center. Exhale, lowering it down to the mat, stepping back into our tabletop position and coming into our child's pose. Maybe you have your knees together. Maybe it feels better to have them at a wide position. Whatever feels right in your body today. Just breathing here. On your next inhale, walk your hands back and then start to just roll over onto the left side. Your booty is on the mat, bringing your feet out in front, crossing, or I guess not crossing, bringing the soles of your feet together, coming into a Baddha Konasana, cobbler's pose. Rocking back and forth, just allowing that flesh to expel outwards. And then clasping your hands on the outside of that little book that your feet make. Inhale as you lift up, feeling the stretch throughout the inner thighs. And then exhale as you look out, leading with your chin and chest as you come forward. Breathing here. Have a soft gaze. I don't know, maybe a foot 10 inches beyond your toes. Or maybe it feels okay for you to close your eyes. And then eventually allow your neck to drop down. Sending breath into any of the points of tension. One more breath here. And then on the next inhale, go ahead and Release up, rolling the head, neck, and spine together, helping the knees come into center, and extending your feet out in front, giving them a nice little bounce here. And then inhale, bringing the hands up overhead, and then start to slowly bend forward. Have a bend in your knees if that feels better for you. Maybe clasping along the calves, your ankles, or maybe the toes and the bottom of the feet. Once again, inhaling as you lead with your chin in your chest, and then slowly dropping through the neck. Feeling the difference between leading with the chin in the chest and releasing throughout the neck. For me, every time I do that and I drop my neck, I feel the weight, the actual weight of my head pulling along the spine, those little muscles, erectus spinous, that go down into the point of your hip connectors there. Breathing. One more breath here. And on your next inhale, walking your hands back up, bringing the soles of your feet together once again. We'll come into another Baddha Konasana. So allow the hands to cradle the toes. Inhale as you stretch your spine up, nice and straight. And then exhale as you lower down. Maybe this time you take your elbows to the inner thighs or to your calf. And rather than thinking that's pressing the elbows into your legs, just allowing the legs to kind of lift up, feeling that little bit of a butterfly effect. I'm not saying that you're pulsing, it's just a breathing motion almost. And inhale as the thighs rise, and exhale as they extend outwards. One more breath here. And then slowly rise up, helping your knees in together. And then allowing yourself to rock back. Knees into your chest. Draw some circles on the ceiling, massaging the lower spine. Ensuring that you're staying connected with your breath. And then let's place that right foot down onto the earth. Extend the left leg up to the sky, flexing the foot, straightening the foot, flexing the foot, straightening the foot. We spend a good bit of time sitting either on the ankles or stretching throughout the ankles. So this movement should feel nice. And then when the next time you come to a flex foot, go ahead and grab your leg behind the top part of the body, or maybe you come into the calf. And you want to make sure that your top body stays nice and grounded on the earth. So wherever you can reach is perfectly fine. And inhale as you stretch to strengthen the leg. And then exhale as you bend the knee a little, bringing that knee into the nose. Inhale as the knee goes away, the leg stretches and strengthens. And then exhale as the knee comes into the nose. A couple more like that. Inhaling to straighten, exhaling with a little bit of a bend here. Once more like that. And then let's hold that knee closer into our nose. Point and flex our toe here, feeling that strong calf muscle as it stretches out. And then bring that knee into your chest. Imagine as if you're taking your knee outward out to the left side. And then as you exhale, pull it in towards your chest. It's almost as if you're taking your leg out and around your ribs. Maybe that knee will come in close to the armpit. Breathing here. One more inhale on this side. Final exhale. And then bring that left foot down onto the earth. Send the right leg up to the sky. And then point and flex that ankle. Sending movement. Maybe it's an ankle roll, depending on how it feels today in your body. And then just like on the other side, wanting to make sure that as you flex throughout the heel of the right foot, you keep the top body connected down onto the ground. And so let's inhale as we stretch and straighten through that leg. And then exhale, having a bend in the knee, bringing it closer to our nose. Inhale, stretch and strengthen. Exhale, bend. Continuing like that. One more like that, stretch up, and then bring that knee in towards your nose, holding the position but not the breath. And then stretch by pointing and flexing through the ankle, feeling the muscles that are connected throughout the calf, throughout the knee, down into the hamstrings. And then bring that knee into your chest, but take it out to the side, opening through the hip. Inhaling here as it's out to the side, and then exhale as you squeeze it in towards your chest, but out and around the ribs. Maybe it feels as if that knee can come into the armpit. Breathing here. One more breath like this. And then bringing both legs out nice and long in front of you. Arms up overhead. Taking a final stretch, pointing throughout the toes, extending the arms. Inhaling here. Exhaling. Once again, pointing the toes, extending the arms, and then exhale, bringing your arms down alongside your body, settling into your final resting pose, Shavasana. Noticing if it feels better for your palms to face up, for your palms to face down. Notice how your shoulder blades might have crept up to your ears, allowing that space to come back. Closing your eyes if that feels good for you. And let's take two breaths together. Inhaling through your nose. Exhaling audibly through the mouth. Once more, inhaling through the nose. Exhaling with a sigh. Rest here. Start to increase the length of the inhales, the length of your exhales. Rolling over onto one side, knees in, coming to that fetal position. And then when it feels okay for you, pressing down into the earth, slowly rising up, head, neck, last to rise. Feel free to keep the eyes closed. Have a soft gaze out in front if you prefer, meeting in a comfortable seat. Bring your hands to heart center, pressing the arm bones into the ribs, feeling as they expand with every inhale, and they give you a nice hug with the exhale. Inhaling and exhaling. And if you would like, join me on the inhale for Om. Let's inhale together. Om. Bowing our chin, bringing our hands up to our third eye, the space between our elbows. Maybe bowing down before, thanking yourself for coming to the mat today. Inhale as you rise up, releasing your hands and slowly opening your eyes. Thanks, everyone.